So where'd they move it to? Some of it was taken to Centralia, which in those days was called the Dakotas. We don't know how much, or what actually was saved. A look of weariness came into his eyes. Whatever was left was put into a storage facility there. After that, we don't know what happened to it. It would be nice to find them, said Alex. Yes, it would. Some people have devoted their lives to trying to figure out what happened. Huntsville had artifacts from the very beginning of the space era, from the Florida Space Museum, from Moonbase, from Churatom. I'd give anything to have been able to look through all that. Florida was underwater by then, I guess. Yes. What happened to the Apollo flight modules? They were left at the Florida Space Museum and went under with the rest of the state. I bet you'd like to have one of those, Uncle Gabe. Gabe took on a negative look. I'm not sure what it would sell for. It's not exactly the kind of thing you could put on a bookshelf. You're kidding. Gabe smiled. Alex, I'd give anything just to have a chance to touch one of them. He sighed. It's a pity. I don't think I'd have wanted to be around during a dark age. It's odd, though. They had interstellar flight and data retrieval and everything. Gabe nodded. None of it matters if you have an unstable society and tin-pot dictators. They had several hundred years of economic collapse, widespread poverty. A few people at the top had all the money and influence. They had terrible overpopulation, struggles over water and resources, civil wars, and widespread illiteracy. The 32nd to the 39th century. It's a wonder we survived. But there were other worlds, other places. How could they all have collapsed? I've read the books. I know what they say about greed and corruption, but I still don't understand how people let it happen. The colony worlds weren't self-sufficient at the time, Alex, so they just got taken over. People with money and influence gradually pushed everyone else out of the way. It was like a disease. They sat quietly for a couple of minutes. Alex finished his soda and put the glass down. Uncle Gabe, this would probably be a good place for a dig site. You ever think about coming here? They don't allow it, son. He looked out at a crater rim. I don't think there's much here anyway. The place has gotten a pretty thorough sweep. They strolled over to the museum. There were about 40 people inside, wandering among the showcases, buying souvenirs, looking at portraits of astronauts and pilots and ships, ranging from the Apollo vehicles to modern interstellars. They went into the showroom, which offered a virtual tour of the original moon base. Posters informed them the tour would show the facility as it had been on the morning of March 2nd, 2057, when the first manned voyage to Jupiter was nearing its objective. Sounds like fun, said Gabe. Why don't we watch? Jupiter's the big planet, right? Asked Alex. Yes, if it hadn't been for Jupiter, we probably wouldn't be here. Really? Why's that? It acted as a sweeper, cleared out a lot of the debris that would have rained down on Earth. Usually, if you don't have one of those in the planetary system, life stays pretty primitive, if it gets moving at all. The Jupiter flight was the first manned mission after Mars, right? Yes, Mars was the first off-world settlement, unless you count Moonbase, of course. I know that. Alex made no effort to hide his annoyance. Sorry, said Gabe. You know, Uncle Gabe, I can't imagine how they traveled around in those days without a star drive. It must have taken forever to get anywhere. It was fairly slow going, kid. I mean, they needed 3 days to get to the moon. Gabe laughed. Yep, they did. That's correct. Alex looked out at the Earth. You can almost touch it. They sat down in a theater area with about a dozen other people and put on headphones.